Have you ever wondered why our relationships just feel so fragile today? I mean, we're technically more connected than we've ever been, but so many of us feel more alone. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the hidden forces that are shaping how we connect with each other, all based on the incredible insights of Yasser Al-Hozemi.
So this whole journey starts with a really surprising answer from a 114-year-old man. See, Al-Hozemi asked him to name some truly good people, probably expecting him to talk about the good old days, right? But instead, he said this.
I know, that sounds completely backward, doesn't it? In a world that feels so divided, he says everyone is good. But believe it or not, that one statement holds the entire key to understanding the crisis in our modern relationships. And I promise, by the time we're done here, you'll know exactly what he meant.
And look, this isn't just some philosophical thought experiment. The stakes are incredibly high. Our mental health is directly linked to the quality of our connections. That makes figuring this out more urgent than ever.
Okay, so let's dive into the first huge idea. If we want to fix our relationships with other people, we have to start by looking in the mirror. The core argument here is that every single connection we have out there is really just a reflection of the one we have with ourselves.
Think about it. If your own internal foundation is shaky, then anything you try to build on top of it is going to be unstable. So understanding and accepting yourself isn't a selfish thing at all. It's actually the first, most necessary step to having any kind of meaningful relationship.
And that brings us to this key concept called the authenticity gap. It's basically the space between who you really are on the inside and the version of you that you show to everyone else. The bigger that gap gets, the more conflict and shame you feel inside. So the goal is to close that gap, to line up who you are with how you act.
And this table breaks it down even better. See, true confidence is when your belief in yourself actually matches your real ability. Arrogance, on the other hand, is when you think you can do something, but you actually can't. Self-contempt is the tragic opposite. You have the skill, but you don't believe in yourself. And then there's true awareness, which is just honestly knowing your limits, knowing what you can and can't do. The sweet spot, where we want to live, is in confidence and awareness.
So how do we get that awareness? Well, this ancient saying explains it beautifully. The people in our lives, they're like mirrors. They reflect our best qualities and, yeah, our flaws right back at us. Now, you could get angry and try to shatter that mirror, or you can use that reflection to see yourself more clearly and adjust.
Okay, so once we've taken that look inward, it's time to look outward, because it's not just about our own internal stuff. We are all swimming in a culture that can sometimes actively sabotage deep connection. Al-Hozemi uses this incredible metaphor. Picture modern life as this giant, powerful factory. It pumps out amazing things, technology, convenience, you name it, but at the same time, it spews out this toxic byproduct, this industrial waste that pollutes our social and psychological air, and we're all breathing it in. So, what's the first piece of this toxic waste? It's radical individualism. This intense focus on me has kind of dissolved the community safety nets that our ancestors totally relied on. We praise being self-sufficient, but it often just leaves us feeling totally isolated on our own little islands. Next up is what he calls contractualism. This is the habit of treating every single interaction like it's a business deal. Our relationships become purely transactional, all about rights and obligations, and that just strips away all the human warmth, all the messy, beautiful stuff.
And then, of course, there's consumerism. We've been trained our whole lives that when something's broken, you just toss it and get a new one. Well, that mindset has started to bleed into our relationships. It often feels way easier to just replace a friend or a partner than to do the really hard work of repairing a connection.
And finally, dehumanization. In this relentless race for efficiency, our systems, healthcare, customer service, even social media, can start to reduce us to just data points, case numbers, or user profiles. It strips away our unique human stories until we're just another number.
And here's the key takeaway from all this. These forces, they're not just passive. They're actively pulling us, like a fast-moving train, in a very specific direction. And unless we make a conscious choice to stop, check the map, and decide on our own destination, we're just going to end up wherever this cultural train is headed.
So, if our inner world is all mixed up and the outside world is a runaway train, where in the world do we find some stability? Well, the source material suggests there's a powerful anchor that exists beyond both ourselves and society.
You can call it faith, spirituality, or just connecting to a core set of principles that don't change. Whatever it is for you, this dimension can be a fixed point in a constantly spinning world. It becomes your moral compass when the culture around you is telling you that everything is relative.
So what does this anchor actually give us?
Well, 4 key things. First, it provides a sense of a vigilant witness, which pushes us to do the right thing even when no one's looking. Second, it gives us patience, the strength to deal with unfairness because we believe things will be set right in the long run. Third, it gives us perspective, helping us see that our struggles right now aren't the end of the story. And finally, it offers a higher purpose for being kind, which transforms our actions from simple transactions into something much more meaningful.
Okay, so this brings us to the most practical part. If you've got a stable inner self and a strong anchor, how do you actually go out and interact with the world? How do we build better connections, starting, right now?
This slide just lays it out so perfectly. See, the modern world pretty much runs on justice, the contract. You get exactly what you paid for, nothing more, nothing less. But real human connection, that's built on kindness. It's about giving someone more than they're due. You can think of it this way. Justice is the absolute floor, the bare minimum. But kindness, that's how you actually build the house of a real relationship.
And we create that kindness in the tiny space between an action and our reaction to it. Let's say someone cuts you off in traffic. That's the action. But before you lean on the horn, there's a moment, a space. In that space, you get to interpret what happened. You can assume they're a total jerk, or you could assume they're racing to the hospital. Your interpretation determines your reaction. And the most powerful thing is, we get to choose our interpretation.
And that brings us all the way back to our 114-year-old man. Why did he say everyone is a good person today? Well, he explained that back in his day, you had to be good to your annoying neighbor. You had to tolerate him because you needed him to watch your house or help with your crops. You literally needed each other to survive. Today, money makes us independent. We can just buy any service we need.
This old French proverb just nails it. Without need, there is no relationship. Our financial independence has accidentally dissolved the essential glue of mutual need that used to hold our communities together. So we're all good to each other because we don't really need anything from each other. And that makes our relationships easy and polite, but also kind of shallow and totally optional.
So the final question is really for you to think about. In a world that is constantly telling you to live by the contract, to demand your rights, and to always put yourself first, who will you consciously choose to be kind to? Because that choice, the decision to give more than what's required, that's how we begin to heal our modern relationships one connection at a time.